Hello, today we're talking about stress, its causes and prevention, and how to overcome it. What is it? Just now I felt stressed in this moment, my blood pressure immediately went up and my pulse increased. This is an appearance of stress, but it will be gone in a few seconds as we're filming, and the effect of mobilization will remain while the signs of stress will disappear. Please consider the Holmes and Rahe stress scale you can see. There are positive and negative types of stress. By the way, Hans Selye talked about this in his research and suggested that stress isn't always bad, but we'll first discuss the negative effects of stress on our body. Long before Selye, Cannon discussed the concept of homeostasis in simple terms, which is a state of equilibrium of all our systems in any situation. Yes, you might be stressed. Some situation has shaken me, but in seconds, as it was for me, everything's restored. The body's mobilized, homeostasis is restored. So what happens when stress negatively impacts the body? Well, the first thing, of course, is the face, the skin, the hair, the nails. Look at this photo, please. This Italian journalist who's been working very hard is in a state of stress. Her appearance modified by stress. Dark circles under the eyes, thick skin. But these are just external manifestations. Internal organs also respond to stress. So you start experiencing stomach aches, leg pain, headaches. A characteristic of these pains is that they're fleeting. Obviously, with arthritis or an injury, a certain area, a certain joint hurts. But under stress, you might experience pain today in your stomach, tomorrow in your back, the day after in your neck. Then there's your head, which can hurt in a variety of ways. The next thing that comes up is sleep disturbance. Here is the most vivid sign that you either need to rest or think or take action with your stress or stressful situation when you experience it constantly at work or at home. Muscle tension. Some of you believe that this is a manifestation of osteochondrosis. Is there something wrong with my spine? No, many of you are familiar with the effect when you put it on. It seems very heavy to you. Why? Indeed, this is the tension in the shoulders. I can say that at the beginning of the 21st century, we conducted a whole set of different scientific studies and demonstrated that the brain and the muscular system actively interact in stressful situations, disrupting this interaction. And you often see people walking in this position, as if the head is drawn into the shoulders or the head is dropped. And the person is looking at the floor. The person is in a classic stress state. The same state is familiar to many of you when you are scared of something and instinctively pull your head into your shoulders, your muscular system. This is his response, quickly responds to stress, anxiety, fear. When a person suddenly has the effect of muscle tension comes up, that many of you experience. Some go get a massage, stone therapy, a bath. The advanced ones go to the clinic and get Botox therapy. Injections are applied on their shoulders. For some people, the scalp, muscles. By the way, tension headache is a classic stress indicator. But ultimately, what do we achieve? Yes, you can relax your muscles, but the internal feelings, the feeling of anxiety persists. Irritability persists. You lash out at your loved ones over small things. What to do about this? Here we see a person being restless. Some of you say, I need to rest. They try to go on a holiday. It helps, but doesn't help everyone. Others opt for pills. The first thing to do is understand what causes stress. Okay, you don't want to go to a psychotherapist or a psychologist, although that's the first recommendation. On the surface, take a sheet of paper and write down what's disturbing you, what's causing stress, what's causing conflict within you. Next, write what will happen if you start taking actions for and against. Okay, that didn't help you. You feel that you can't handle it alone. There's only one recommendation. Go to a specialist, a neurologist, an experienced psychologist, a psychotherapist, and he'll prescribe a bunch of medications, including anti-anxiety drugs, which alter the situation with anxiety. They remove the anxiety. Some will be prescribed antidepressants, but not the type that you gulp down. Exciting your brain with drugs, your body's autonomic nervous system is actively functioning. The vegetative nervous system providing the same homeostasis, the balance, which I was speaking about earlier, spins you You get out of balance, you are stressed, you come to the gym and add on. What is called piling on this stress even more? Now your vegetative system. To put it simply, vegetative. The nervous system might not handle it, first of all. The cardiovascular system won't hold up. Such are the situations. When in the gym or among seemingly strong young people, a heart attack occurs, sudden cardiac arrest, without any apparent reason. These are signs of an inadequate attitude towards yourself in conditions of severe stress. Well, in this situation, it's recommended gentle yoga, Pilates, walks. The pool is great at relieving stress. That is to say, softer physical activities. And of course, I must talk about breathing practices. We have on this topic several videos on our YouTube channel. Please have a look. This is a change in the pattern of breathing from thoracic to abdominal type of breathing. By the way, this helps in conditions of acute stress. And if you constantly use breathing techniques, it helps you get rid of chronic stress. You start to breathe differently than before. You stop breathing through the chest. You start engaging the diaphragm. In this situation, the very important diaphragmatic muscle works differently. Plus, you start changing the rhythm of breathing. You shorten the inhalation and lengthen the exhalation. Now, try doing it under acute stress. Really try it now. And you'll feel your mind start to operate differently after just a few minutes. Imagine, during stress, you start to breathe more rapidly. Your breathing rhythm changes. Now we fundamentally alter the situation. The diaphragm engages. You breathe less frequently. And what happens to the brain? The operation of the respiratory vasomotor center changes. The operation changes. All neurohumoral systems, the sense of fear disappears from the brain. This disrupted imbalance, this disrupted homeostasis. Here it is, this process of disrupted homeostasis subsides, and the much needed balance occurs. The formation of adequate homeostasis, which we mentioned a little earlier. And what if I smoke? Now this is a very interesting point. Many have smoked. They say, a cigarette calms me down. In fact, the same can be said by marijuana or alcohol users, saying that alcohol is a great distress reliever. I'm not going to dispute this. To a certain extent, a glass of cognac or another alcoholic beverage helps alleviate stress and calm down, similar to nicotine, but in reality, the effects of nicotine and alcohol aren't for us. There are plenty of other interesting methods. For dealing with stress, for example, Japan has recently developed something called forest therapy, where people are taken to pleasant groups in the forest. They sit in a chair and start working with special techniques. Here, several very important components are used. First and foremost is the influence of nature, and no one can deny, because a leisurely walk in the forest by the river will help you cope with stress. The second component is pleasant company and pleasant conversation. And recent studies have shown that communication is the most important factor for our health. Imagine not long ago scientists said that if you're socially isolated, you probably have inadequate skills. When we're in social settings, our blood pressure goes up, our weight increases, and even a very important sign changes. A sign of inflammation called C-reactive protein, it increases, but our discussion on stress prevention would be incomplete if we don't mention such an important component like trace minerals and vitamins. And here I'd like to draw attention to magnesium. The thing is, it's a very important trace mineral because it reacts very well to stress. A vicious cycle forms here. Magnesium deficiency leads to increased stress, and stress in its turn leads back to magnesium deficiency. Can you imagine? Adrenaline and cortisol levels rise when under stress, flushing out magnesium, which results in the negative effects I've previously mentioned. These unpleasant effects include muscle spasms, cramps, tension, irritability, uncomfortable sensations in the stomach and gastrointestinal tract, and headaches. These are all symptoms of a magnesium deficiency, and you don't need to rush to the lab to determine your magnesium level. It is not only unnecessary, but also an expensive waste of time. Instead, a specially designed clinical questionnaire can be used to assess your magnesium deficiency. Please take a look. It is very user-friendly and is based on the clinical signs of this deficiency. What magnesium supplement should I use? It's better to use organic magnesium salts because they are more readily absorbed in the stomach and intestines. Additionally, combining magnesium supplements with vitamin B is my recommended approach. Why? This certainly forms a synergy. The addition of two very important components helps you handle fatigue and amplifies the absorption of magnesium. You could devour bags of hazelnuts and soy, but you won't achieve the same effect of raising magnesium levels. Why did I say hazelnuts and soy? Simply because some smart person reading understands that in hazelnuts and in other foods there's a lot of magnesium. So let me dispatch your hopes. You can eat a ton, but there will be no effect. The magnesium won't be absorbed. So for this we need to use medications. At the same time, we know that stress, especially long-lasting chronic stress, is a process that takes several months or even years. It's farcical to assume that by 1 or 2 months you would sort out all the problems linked to magnesium intake. Magnesium needs to be taken much longer. Thus, a cumulative effect of the medication will be created, and you will steadily emerge from this situation. But of course, I'd like to underscore that magnesium is fantastic, but only the entire complex that we've discussed about will help you out of this difficult situation.